Before I get started, if you guys like our content, please leave a like and monster mash that subscribe button to be updated and notified on all Monster Planet content. Anyway guys, let's get right into the video. Hello my fellow ghouls and ghoulettes, and welcome to Monster Planet, where I talk about a monster's brief history, how it affected our modern world today, and how media portrays the monster. I'm your host Marlon Gonzalez, and today's monster is even mortar than I can handle. So, let's get started. Today's monster is not the grandmother figure that you want or need. I'm talking about the chicken housing and mortar riding Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is a wicked witch of Slavic folklore. Her Russian origins have multiple points of reference due to people back in that time living in the forests of northern Russia. There isn't a very concise origin story for her, but there are many stories of her providing wisdom of fate for travelers that enter her domain. Some stories say that Baba Yaga stands for the Dark Wisdom, as she gives challenging tasks to complete. But one of these characters that completed all of her tasks was the character Vasilisa, the Beautiful. She stands for the light, as she completed all the chores given to her by Baba Yaga. As mysterious as she is ugly, Baba Yaga is odd to say the least. She somehow has characteristics of a maternal figure, like a grandmother of sorts. The name Baba in Russian translates to old, or old woman, or grandmother. And Yaga has some conflicting translations. Some theories, state that it ranges meaning snake or wicked. The most common illustrated description of her is that she lives with 2 or 3 sisters, all named Baba Yaga, in their hut. She's also illustrated as being skinny, pale, with witch-like features, riding a mortar rather than a broom, and wielding a pestle or a wand. And this is what I find very funny. It's her hut. Her home is a very funny looking home, to say the least, with a rooster's head on top, with the body of it being a house or a hut, while also walking with chicken legs. It's very strange indeed. For abilities, she has powers that of a witch, but amped up to an 11. A few of her abilities are that she's able to ride through the air with her mortar, and while she's riding in the air, she's able to create a tempest with a wave of her pestle that kind of guides the mortar whenever she rides through the night. I have to say, those are some wicked abilities to have. Baba Yaga's influence has been worldwide, from video games, folktales, books, movies, TV shows, and other media platforms. Her stories of being an entity borderline of being helpful, but also unhelpful, is one that generations of people remember throughout history. She's one of the traditional tellers of one's fate that you have to be careful around, or else you risk death by her or her sister's hands. The stories of Baba Yaga made Europe a conglomerate land of mythical and fantastical wonder that has a deep, sinister undertone, waiting to be unmasked by the people who search deep enough. I have to say, no matter how many times I think I know these monsters, when I delve deep enough, I find some very sinister stuff about them. Some things that I think are cool, but also quite terrifying. Media has taken this mythic monster and turned it into an enemy to overcome, or a misunderstood figure that people can sympathize. Some forms of media, like D&D, Fables, Scooby-Doo, John Wick, use this witch to symbolize both the dark and the light side of this monster. But besides being misunderstood in other stories, most stories depict her as evil and treat her as an info broker who guides the protagonists to their untimely demise, or some kind of bigger, better fate for them, something that fate has in store for them. Well, that's all the time I have for you ghouls and ghoulettes. And remember, if you ever meet Baba Yaga, just make sure you know which task you have to complete first.